Welcome to Easy English Stories. Today, you're about to hear a story that will stay with you. A story about sacrifice, desperation, and a mother's unbreakable love. Imagine this: you're alone in a small, cold apartment. The rent is overdue, the fridge is almost empty, and the only thing keeping you going is the tiny heartbeat of someone who depends on you. Then, one day, the doctor gives you news that shatters your world. Sophia knows this feeling too well. She has no money, no help, and no time. But when a mysterious man offers her a deal, she must decide: risk everything or watch the only person she loves slip away. This is a mother's sacrifice, a powerful story of love, betrayal, and survival. Stay with me until the end. You won't want to miss what happens. How this video will help you learn English. The goal of this video is to help you improve your listening skills, and if you want, you can practice shadowing with me. What is shadowing? Shadowing is one of the best techniques to improve your English speaking skills. It means listening carefully to native speech and repeating exactly what you hear as quickly as possible. How can you do it in this video? First, listen to the story carefully. Focus on the pronunciation, rhythm, and emotions of the words. Then watch the video again and try to repeat every sentence after me. You don't need to be perfect, just keep going. If you practice this every day, you'll improve your fluency much faster than you think. Now, let's start the story. Listen carefully and get ready to be fully immersed in Sophia's world. Chapter 1: Sophia's Struggle. Sophia sat by the small window, staring at the city lights outside. The cold wind seeped through the cracks, but she barely noticed. Her mind was elsewhere, on the small figure lying in bed behind her. "Mom," a weak voice called. Sophia turned quickly, forcing a smile. "I'm here, sweetheart." Anna, her 5-year-old daughter, looked pale. Her breathing was shallow, and her tiny hands trembled. The fever wouldn't go down. Sophia brushed Anna's hair gently. "You'll be okay, baby. I promise." But promises meant nothing without money, and Sophia had none. She worked long hours cleaning houses, washing dishes, but it was never enough. And today, the doctor's words echoed in her head. She needs surgery soon, or... Sophia clenched her fists. There had to be a way. She couldn't fail her daughter. A sudden knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. Chapter 2: The Mysterious Offer. Sophia hesitated before opening the door. Her heart pounded. It was late. Who could it be? She slowly turned the handle. A tall man in a dark coat stood in the dim hallway. His sharp eyes studied her. "Sophia Alvarez?" She nodded, gripping the door frame. "Who are you?" The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "My name is Daniel. I know about your situation." Sophia's breath caught. "What do you mean?" Daniel's voice was calm. "Your daughter needs help. I can give it to you." Sophia's mind raced. How did he know? And why would a stranger offer help? Daniel stepped closer. "No tricks, no lies, just a deal. You help me, and I help you." Sophia clenched her fists. "A deal?" Desperation screamed at her to say yes, but something about him felt dangerous. What kind of deal? She whispered. Chapter 3. The Hard Choice. Sophia gripped the card in her trembling hands. What do you want from me? Daniel gave a small smile, as if he already knew her answer. Nothing illegal. Just a job. She frowned. What kind of job? A special position, well paid, but it requires loyalty. He glanced toward the bedroom where Camila was sleeping. And sacrifices. That word felt heavy. Sacrifices. Sophia looked at her daughter, her pale little face, her small chest rising and falling weakly. She needed treatment. She needed a chance one Sophia could never give her alone. If you accept, the money will be in your account tomorrow. But if you refuse, Daniel shrugged, I won't be able to come back. Sophia felt the crushing weight of the decision. Her pride screamed no, but her love for Camila whispered yes. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and murmured, I accept. Daniel smiled. Good, we start tomorrow. Chapter 4. A New Reality. The next morning, Sophia woke up early. Her heart was heavy, but there was no turning back now. She checked her bank account just as Daniel promised. The money was there. More than she had ever seen. Camilla's medicine was the first thing on her mind. She rushed to the pharmacy, buying everything the doctor had prescribed. Tears filled her eyes as she held the small bag. For the first time, she had hope. But reality hit hard. At exactly noon, a black car stopped in front of her building. Daniel was inside. Ready? He asked as she hesitated at the door. Sophia looked at her daughter, peacefully asleep. She had no choice. She stepped inside the car. Daniel handed her a folder. Read carefully. This is your new life. Sophia opened it, her hands shaking. The first page had just 2 words. No mistakes. Chapter 5. The First Test. Sophia held the folder tightly as the car drove through the city. Every page was filled with instructions, rules she had to follow, things she couldn't say, people she had to avoid. Daniel watched her. You're smart. You'll do fine. They stopped in front of a luxurious hotel. Sophia hesitated. She had never been inside a place like this. Daniel opened the door. Go inside. Ask for Mr. Collins. He's expecting you. Her heart pounded as she stepped out. The marble floors, the chandeliers, the wealthy guests, it was a different world. At the reception, she took a deep breath. I'm here for Mr. Collins. A woman nodded. Follow me. Sophia walked through a long hallway. Her hands were sweating. What exactly was she walking into? The door opened. A man sat at a grand desk, looking straight at her. Welcome, Sophia, he said. Chapter 6. A Dangerous Game. Sophia stood frozen at the doorway. Mr. Collins was a tall man in an expensive suit, his piercing eyes studying her like a puzzle to be solved. Sit, he said, gesturing to the chair in front of him. Her hands trembled as she obeyed. You're new, he continued, tapping a pen against the desk. Do you understand what is expected of you? Sophia swallowed hard. Did she? Daniel's words echoed in her mind. No mistakes. Yes, she said, forcing confidence into her voice. Mr. Collins leaned forward. Good, then let's see how well you listen. He slid a small envelope across the desk. Inside is an address. Go there. Follow instructions exactly. Do not ask questions. Sophia picked up the envelope, her heart racing. She had no idea what awaited her, but one thing was clear. There was no turning back. Chapter 7. A Step into the Unknown. Sophia left the hotel with the envelope pressed tightly in her hands. The city lights blurred as she walked, her mind racing. At the first street corner, she stopped and took a deep breath. This was it. She opened the envelope. Inside was a small note with an address and a single word, midnight. Her stomach twisted. What was she getting into? Back at her apartment, Camila was already asleep. Sophia sat beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her little face. I'm doing this for you, she whispered. When the clock struck 11, she got up, put on her best dress, and left. She arrived at an old building downtown. The door was slightly open, waiting for her. With one last breath, she stepped inside. The door shut behind her, and then a voice. You're late. Chapter 8. The Challenge. Sophia walked into the dark room, her heart beating fast. The room felt cold. There was only one light on the desk. She felt like she was far from everything she knew. It was hard to breathe. The man sitting at the desk looked at her. He was in the shadows, and his face was hard to see. Sit down, he said with a calm voice, but it made her feel small. Sophia sat down slowly. Her hands were shaking. She looked around, but saw nothing that made sense. The room was empty, and it felt like she was alone in a big, dark place. You are here now, the man said. Now we will see what you can do. Sophia didn't know what to say. She didn't feel ready for anything. Her mind was full of questions, but she couldn't ask. There is something you need to understand, he continued. This is not a game. You will be tested. Your choices will decide your future. Sophia felt her stomach tighten. His words scared her. She thought about her life and how everything had changed. She thought about her family, her old job, and the safe life she had left behind. Now she didn't know who she was anymore. I'm ready, she said, but she wasn't sure if it was true. The man smiled a little. Good. There are 2 doors in this room. One will lead you to your future. The other will change everything. Sophia looked at the doors. One was to the left, and there was a small light coming from behind it. The other was to the right, and it was completely dark. Choose, the man said. Sophia felt a heavy weight in her chest. She didn't know what to do. Her heart was racing. She had come this far, but now she felt lost. She took a deep breath and walked to the door on the left. The light felt safe, but something about it made her nervous. She reached out and grabbed the handle. Her hand was shaking. There was no turning back now. She opened the door. Chapter 9. The Decision. Sophia stepped into a dark hallway. The door behind her closed and she couldn't go back. At the end, another door waited. A note was on the ground. Trust no one. Her hands shook. What did it mean? She walked to the door, opened it, and entered. A woman sat at a table. "Sit," the woman said, her voice cold. Sophia sat down, feeling nervous. "You've come this far," the woman said, "but it's not over. You must prove yourself." Sophia swallowed. "What do I do?" The woman smiled. "Make a choice. The next one will change everything." Sophia's heart raced. She had to choose. Chapter 10. The Truth Revealed. Sophia stood frozen, staring at the woman across the table. The air was thick with unspoken words. Her heart pounded in her chest. "Make your choice," the woman said. "One door gives you freedom. The other keeps you trapped." Sophia glanced at the two doors. One was open slightly, glowing with light. The other was dark and closed. She couldn't stay here. She had to choose. Sophia took a deep breath and moved to the light door, but before opening it, the woman's voice stopped her. "Stop. You've chosen the wrong door." Panic flooded Sophia. She had failed. The woman walked to the dark door and opened it. Beyond it, Sophia saw a street full of people she knew, friends and family. And there, on the street, stood her little girl. The child, once sick and fragile, was now healthy, smiling, and full of life. Sophia stepped into the light, feeling the weight lift from her shoulders. She was free. Her daughter ran to her, and Sophia scooped her up, overwhelmed with joy. Her daughter was no longer sick. They were finally free. The woman's voice echoed softly, "You are stronger than you think," before she faded into the shadows. Sophia held her daughter, surrounded by love. For the first time in years, she felt at peace. Together, they could start anew, free from the past. So Sophia and her daughter started a new life, free from the past. The choice that seemed so hard was the start of a life full of love, health, and freedom. In the end, Sophia learned that even when things seem impossible, the strength inside us can guide us to where we are meant to be. Sometimes the answers we need are inside us, waiting to be found when we face our fears. That's what makes life so amazing. Even when we feel lost, choosing to keep going can lead us to a fresh start. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Sophia's choice? What do you think she learned at the end of the story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. And if you want to practice your English, go back and do shadowing. Repeat every sentence until your pronunciation is perfect. With practice, you will get better every day. Believe me, you can do it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories and tips to learn English in a fun way. Click the bell so you never miss a video. Your learning journey never stops, and I'll be here to help you along the way. Remember, learning a new language is a step closer to your dreams. See you in the next video.